How about that performance? Wasn't that amazing?
That was wonderful. I really enjoyed that.
Have you ever done Flocorico?
I have never had a chance to do Flocorico dancing, but it looks like a lot of fun and definitely a good workout like they were saying, and I could definitely use that.
Yeah, so, you know, back where I'm from, we have a Flocorico dancing team at the other high school, and I've always been interested in wanting to do it, but you know, I never had the time. But while we're on the discussion of Flocorico, our episode today is all about Latinos and music.
Right.
So how do you feel about music and with the Latino community? I
definitely enjoy it, absolutely. You know, I'll throw on Selena every now and then, and the Cumbia Kings and Te Extraño.
I'm a really big Selena fan.
Yeah.
Like, the biggest. I really think she is amazing, and, you know, I really think that our community is really lucky to have someone like that did a big influence. And now we're going to throw it over to the news desk with Jessica Garcia.
A San Antonio landfill search for a missing baby has been postponed. San Antonio authorities were searching for 8-month-old Gabriel Johnson when heavy rains interfered. His mother, Elizabeth Johnson, from Arizona, was last seen with her son at a San Antonio hotel this past December. She had originally told the boy's father that she killed Gabriel and dumped him in the trash, which is a story she later changed. She has been arrested for kidnapping, child abuse, and custodial interference. So ladies, what I want to ask you about that is, some people might look at that and say, why would authorities stop such an important search for, you know, a baby? What do you all think about that?
You know, I would have to say that it's just really unfortunate that the child is in those conditions, and we still, I mean, is it even clear if the child is in the landfill, or was it something again that the mom made up just because obviously she doesn't seem very truthful and honest, because she's changing her story so many times.
Yeah, you know, did that happen? Did it, you know, is it true?
Right.
You can never really expect for things to come out that way.
Yeah, and then, you know, the search and rescue people, they have to take their own lives into consideration. I mean, is it worth the risk? Yes, it would be. I mean, if there was a child down there, a life in danger, but again, you never know, because she could be lying about it. So it's always...
It's unfortunate.
It's a lose-lose situation, and unfortunately, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, News 8 reported last week that a man was abandoned his 7-year-old son after crashing into a New Braunfels home last week. That man is currently still in investigation. They're searching for him. He is possibly going to be faced with at least reckless driving. Rosie Bernal, who was watching this whole from inside her house, said that he actually lost control, slammed into a parked car, hopped the curb, and then ran into her house. So do y'all have any comments on that? Did you hear about that?
I honestly did not hear about that, but I think that it's horrible that a man would just leave a baby in a car, you know, after, especially, it's kind of like he ran from the situation, he doesn't want to deal with it. So I think it's just terrible that that situation even had to happen.
Yeah, it's really kind of disturbing that it's the child's own father would just get up and leave, even if there was no serious injuries. I mean, that is your child. You're going to look after them, and especially you want to make sure that they're okay. And then there's obviously, it seems like some kind of foul play within the situation if he just left the scene in such a hurry. I mean, what was he running from? Yeah,
was he trying to maybe potentially hurt his child? Was it an accidental? We don't know the situation. So that just makes it really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, police said that he was actually driving recklessly on a dead-end street, and remarkably, no one was hurt. The child, you know, anyone was hurt at all, which is good news. But what I don't understand is he left his own son, so how could the police not track him? How could they not identify who he was to begin with? So I don't know. What do you all think about that as well?
I mean, is there proof that it was in fact his own child, or could it have been someone else's child? Did he kidnap this child? It just doesn't seem likely that if it was his biological child that he would just leave him behind without a care.
Okay, thank you. Now I want to talk a little more about statewide news. As far as laws in Texas. Now, this past September, there was a new law concerning teen tanning, limiting their access to the tanning beds. but this new law is actually being enforced now as of this year, 2010. Now, the problem is with young teens, when prom time comes around, which will be what, for some schools, April, May, it's, I guess, a popular trend to start tanning a lot. And now they actually need a permission slip, a written permission slip from their parents or their guardian to be able to tan. What do you all think?
I honestly think that's a good idea. There's so many skin cancers out there that it's just tanning. I don't understand why girls need to tan so much. You know, I can go to Walgreens and I get my Sally Hansen spray tan, and that's my tan. I don't really have a need to tan. I just think that we're not being careful on the skin cancers that are out there, and we need to teach that to our children because you never know, something could happen.
Right, and so many young girls not necessarily want their skin to be darker because they want their complexion to look nice. They do it because it's a phase and a fad, and it's fashionable.
Yeah, you know, I live near Concho Green, and I just see so many young girls out here at Texas State, and they go and they tan. I just don't understand why we feel the need to, you know, if we look bronzer, that it will make a statement or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, now this law is actually being enforced to young girls that are between the ages of 16 and a half to 18. Now, some might get upset and argue that, you know, 18, legally they're an adult. What do you think about that?
I think that, yes, it can be tricky depending, you know, 18 in Texas, you're considered an adult, you can make your own decisions. But again, if they're looking out for the younger generation, it's only in turn going to help them because they don't even realize how big of a risk they're putting themselves in, being under such direct light and heat and all that UV radiation. It's just going to affect them in the long run. And by having them have the permission slips and sign in, it's going to make them think more about, is it really worth it? Do I really get permission to go into the tanning salon and just get darker skin for a small event? I
agree, and I also think that each tanning salon should have at least an education program about how we're doing, how is the tanning, what are the skin cancers, so that, you know, each child could know.
Yeah.
Okay, now the other new law that I want to talk about is the State and Health Department wants to start enforcing a requirement for pregnant women to take a test for infectious diseases. They want them to be tested for HIV, syphilis, and hepatitis B. What do you all have to say about that?
I think that's absolutely great. You know, if there's any chance that in the beginning of a pregnancy you can realize that there's an infection and you can cure an infection at the very beginning stages, the early stages, then why not do it? I say I'm all for it.
Okay.
Totally. Thank you, Jessica Garcia, with the latest news. And now, Ellen's big debut, Loco for Nachos, and will Avatar provide a big upset? Your latest entertainment headlines when we return.